All right, this video is going to help you complete the Exploring Properties of Matter lab. We'll start with investigation number 1. So in investigation number 1, we're just going to take a piece of paper and we're going to tear it into pieces. And as I'm doing this, you should be recording your observations in your data table. All right, I'm going to set the paper here on a watch glass, and then we're going to use that for investigation number 2. And so for investigation number 2, I'm going to take that piece of paper, I'm going to take a match, and I'm going to light the paper with the match, and we'll let it burn. So as it burns, you can make your observations. Remember, your observations should be what you see, not what you think is going to happen. And then also your observations, you don't need to explain anything. You just need to state what is happening. You don't need to explain why. We'll get to that later. All right, this is investigation number 3. It said to use test tubes, but I use small beakers so you can see it a little bit better. So I've added universal indicator to the 2 beakers. And then in the first beaker, we're going to add a little bit of ammonia. So this is ammonia being added to universal indicator. And then in our second test tube, or second beaker, we're going to be adding a little bit of vinegar. And we'll observe what happens. You can record your observations in your data table. So that's investigation 3. And then investigation 4, we're going to pour these 2 together. I'm going to use a thermometer to measure the temperature. And so we can measure the temperature of this solution right now, which is 24.6. In the instructions it says to feel it, but since you can't feel it, I'm using the thermometer to help you see any temperature changes. And so we're going to be adding this one. And you can make your observations. And we can observe the temperature is now 26.1. This is investigation number 5. We're going to be taking this blue crystal. So I'm taking this substance, which is like a blue crystal, and I'm putting it into the mortar. And we will be using the mortar, and you make your observations. Okay, so you can make your observations on that step. And now for the next part, I'm going to be adding some of that blue crystal into an evaporating dish. And I'll be weighing it. So we're putting it on our balance. You can record the mass of the blue crystal and the evaporating dish. And then we're going to get a hot plate. So this is my hot plate. And I'm going to be setting this on the hot plate. And we'll be leaving it on the hot plate for a couple minutes. And after a few minutes, we'll take it off, let it cool, and then we'll weigh it again. All right, this is the continuation of investigation number 6. Our sample of blue crystal had been on the hot plate for about 5 minutes. You can make your observations about how its appearance has changed. And then I've had it here cooling for a few minutes as well. And so now we're going to find its final mass. So You're going to want to record that mass in your data table along with your observations. This is investigation number 7. So investigation number 7, I have a candle. We set it on a piece of foil, and we are going to set it on a hot plate and then turn on the hot plate. So I just turn on the hot plate and leave that. You can observe that. And then also we'll do investigation 8 at the same time. So this is another candle, same kind of candle, and we'll be lighting this one and letting this one burn for about 5 minutes. So you can observe both at the same time, the candle on the hot plate and then the candle that is just on the counter and burning. All right, so that's probably good. You can see the candle that's been burning. See what it looks like. And we can see the candle that's been on our hot plate. You can observe what that looks like. This is investigation number 9. So for investigation number 9, we have a sample of baking soda. Looks like this. And then we're going to be adding to that some vinegar. In the instructions it says to use a well plate, but we're using a little larger sample just so you can see it better. So here's vinegar that I'm adding to the baking soda. A little bit more. You can make your observations there for investigation number 9. And then investigation number 10, this is a baking soda solution. Notice how it looks different than the baking soda. And then in this one, we'll be adding vinegar to it as well. A little too much. And then investigation 11, we have, just like in investigation 10, we have a baking soda solution. And to this one, we're going to be adding silver nitrate. So I'll add just a couple drops of silver nitrate. So make your observations there for investigation number 11. All right, this is investigation number 12. Investigation number 12, we're going to be taking 10 pennies. So these are 10 pennies, all newer pennies from after 1982. We're going to count out 10 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're finding the mass of 10 pennies. These are post-1982 pennies, so newer than 1982. Once we find their mass, we are also going to find their volume. And so we're going to find the volume by water displacement. So I have a graduated cylinder with water in it. So you're going to record the volume of water in the graduated cylinder. And then I'm going to add the 10 pennies to the graduated cylinder. And then you're going to record the volume again. And then also part of investigation 12, we're going to look at some older pennies. These are pennies from before 1982. So we'll count out 10 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've got 10 pennies from before 1982. And then once you record the mass, we're also going to find the volume of these. All right, so we have our graduated cylinder, so record the initial volume of the graduated cylinder. And then I'll add the pennies. And you can record the final volume of the water in this graduated cylinder after the pennies have been added. This is investigation 13. So I've got a blue solution right here. And I have a piece of iron metal right here. We're going to put the iron into the blue solution. Make sure you make observations on the metal and the solution first. Then I'll place it in there, and we'll leave it in there for a couple minutes. And you make observations as it's in there, and then after I take it back out. All right, so it's been in here for a minute or two, so we'll take it out, and you can make your observations on the iron metal.